kind of hot. It's been raining for about 950,000 days, and I'm over it. Everybody's like, oh, the moon, and the natural cycles of the moon. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool and all, but what about the sun? Hello. Hey, y'all. Hello. My name is Allie. I'm eating a Mayfield ice cream brown cow, and I want to talk to you about zines. And I want to talk to you about zines. So I found these zines on my shelf, and they were not ready to be shelved yet because I never reviewed them. I don't know why. I don't know. I feel like I'm just starting to get my life back together after Christmas break. And I feel like this happens every year. My birthday is actually coming up, and every year I'm like, let's just not do anything. Because I'm still like trying to recover from the holiday thing. And so I'm being a lot more conscious of how we use our time on the holidays now. I kind of said, let's not buy anything this year. So I think I got my husband like 2 things. No, it was 3. I got him a Funko Pop Dopey figurine from Snow White because right now he's like totally bald and his head is really cold, and so he's wearing this beanie on his head and it's all saggy. He looks like Dopey. So I got him that, and I got him a crate for the records that we've been collecting for the past like 2 years. And then I got him a record. So it was a very minimalist Christmas this year. I still haven't even done Christmas with my own parents because they are in the middle of trying to sell their house and move back down here. So it might be February before I actually do Christmas with them. So yeah, I'm just kind of like just getting it all sorted and back together, and I feel really productive today. And I also feel shame because I have had this little set of zines since October, and I know it. And I've sat down with them a couple different times and looked through them. They are super, super dense. This set of zines is from Marx in the Mountains, which if you go to their Instagram and check them out, you'll see that they are like a communist Appalachian zine maker, which might sound like antithetical in some way, but it's really not. And if you delve into these zines, you'll see why. They are from West Virginia, which actually my mom was born in West Virginia, and then my grandmother moved back down here when she was young. So like my family on both sides of my family have always been tied to East Tennessee, but I also have some connection to West Virginia. And then also my husband is from West Virginia. He's lived a couple different places over the years. His parents moved a lot, but he was born in West Virginia, and when we go to visit his family, that's where we go. Oak Hill. So yeah, Marx in the Mountains sent me some really cool zines. They are political. They are artistic. They are about being tied to the land, which is something that I definitely can relate to. They have some really cool collages interspersed with writing. A lot of different people contributed to the zines. The one thing I will say is that like it's kind of difficult to tell in the ones that have multiple contributors who the contributors are. I really enjoyed the Marx in the Mountains Halloween edition because it's about cryptids, and a lot of different people kind of gave their impressions about different cryptids that they wanted to talk about. This one's called Letters Heavy from the Weight of Trauma and the Hope of Love, which is such a beautiful title, and it is by Z. Catherine, and it is a poetry zine. On the inside it is white paper and then just black font, and it really allows the words to stand on their own, and then it's just, you know, printer paper folded in half and stapled. Nothing too fancy. Sometimes down here we don't need it that fancy. This one is Marx in the Mountains. It has this gorgeous, lush photography on the cover. Just absolutely eye-catching, and you really want to spend time with it. I love this cutaway of the crescent framing this person right here. It's just very beautiful. And there are more stories about magic and ghosts. My favorite thing that I read actually is in this one. This is the continuation of the other Halloween zine because they just had so many people contribute stuff. And my favorite thing is actually the first thing in this one. It's a story about their daddy living in the mountains of North Carolina and calling himself a water witch. He's able to douse for water. So it sounds like Appalachian granny magic or grandpa magic. And what's interesting about this region is that we have this tie to witchcraft, but our witches didn't really consider themselves witches. They were Christians, and they understood the signs. They knew when to plant. They knew how to help people when they were sick, which was really important because in a lot of these rural areas, it would have been days before a doctor could have come. So we have this tradition of medicine and healing that sounds very much like witchcraft, but wasn't talked about in that way. Witches were real, but they were something else. They were, you know, maleficent. They were bad. They tried to hurt people. They poisoned crops and cattle and things like that. All stuff that I'm like super totally into. So thank you so much, Marx in the Mountains, for sending this to me. It's right up my alley. I'm sorry it took so long to talk about it on the channel, but I went through the zines several times and then shelved them without realizing that I hadn't reviewed them yet. So if you would like for me to neglect your zines horribly and then 4 months later talk about them, please send them to me to the address that I have listed in the description below, and I'll see if there's something that I want to talk about on the channel. Thank you very much for tuning in, and in the meantime, please keep making and do it yourself.
It's been a long time since I believed in magic.